Hi there. If you're in the business of selling SEO to local service businesses, then LocalSEOValue is the perfect tool to help you close more clients. LocalSEOValue will show you and your clients the value of local SEO in terms of potential traffic to their website, anticipated lead volume, additional revenue, and even ROI. In addition, LocalSEOValue will show your prospect their current rankings and where they stand compared to their competition. To top this off, LocalSEOValue will also generate a report of all the search terms your prospect's competitors rank for and how much traffic each of these search terms generates so that you can easily craft a winning SEO strategy for your prospect. Finally, if your prospect doesn't move forward with you, don't worry. LocalSEOValue will generate for you a list of all the top competitors in your prospect's area worth calling on. With just a click of a button, you'll be able to sync this list of competitors into your dialer so that you can quickly call on them. And during your calls, you'll have all the information you'll need to successfully schedule a warm follow-up call or even close them on this first cold call. Let's dive in and see step by step exactly how this works. Say we're on a video conference call with a roofing company. For this example, we'll use Denver Roofers, LLC. In our LocalSEOValue account, we'll click Run Report. Then, let's search for Denver Roofers, LLC and select the company from the list of results. In the core search term field, let's type in roofers. Next, let's select all the cities within the company's service area. For this example, let's say cities within 20 miles of the company's business location. Finally, let's click Get Your Report. Let's open a new browser tab and paste the URL of the LocalSEOValue spreadsheet that's been made available to you within your account. Then click Make a Copy. We'll go ahead and add the name of the roofing company to the end of the default spreadsheet's title. Let's switch back to our report and copy its contents by clicking the Copy to Clipboard button. We will now return to our spreadsheet and paste the copied data where it says Paste Here. Now, let's click on the Assumptions tab at the bottom of the spreadsheet. The values on this sheet need to come from the prospect. If they don't know them, then we need to make assumptions based on prior experience that we have with similar businesses. Let's update the values as provided by the prospect. We'll enter an estimated lifetime value of a client to $20,000. Enter 25% for the profit margin and change the website conversion ratio to 10% and the sales conversion ratio to 20%. While gathering these values from the prospect, we can easily gauge if they are reasonable by paying attention to the secret code provided right below the assumptions. For example, in this case, we can see these assumptions look reasonable. An SEO and PPC strategy is projected to increase this prospect's revenues by $880,000 within 12 months and with a net profit of $157,000. Let's move on to the Results tab. Here we can instantly see a summary of the results we project for our prospect. It's sort of a teaser. By month 12, we can see our projections show we're on track to generating 20 leads per month at a cost of $210 to $290 per lead. We can also see that by working together, our prospect is projected to be on pace to adding $880,000 in yearly revenue to his business. The prospect at this point is likely excited by these projected results. After all, it would mean a significant boost to his business and bottom line profits. Our next step then is to show our prospect that these projected results are realistic. We do this by moving on to the Traffic Potential tab. Here we can see the monthly search volume for roofers within the prospect's 20-mile service area. The spreadsheet automatically calculates this by totaling the estimated number of searches that take place monthly in each of the cities within the prospect's entire service area. For example, as we can see, in Westminster, there are about 20 monthly searches for the search term Roofers Westminster. In addition, there are 220 monthly searches for roofers and an additional 80 monthly searches for roofers near me. We can therefore give an estimation that a top 3 ranking for roofers in Westminster would result in about 26 monthly website visitors from organic and about 33 monthly visitors from the local map pack. We can also see here that the average cost per click for this traffic is $21.92. It's interesting to keep in mind that if our prospect was to pay Google for this traffic, the 26 organic clicks would have cost $570 and the map traffic would have cost about $712. The traffic potential sheet shows us that there is a significant demand on Google for roofers. In fact, there is an average of 6,380 monthly searches for roofers within the prospect's service area. In addition, we can see that SEO has the potential of resulting in up to 1,243 monthly visitors to our prospect's website from people searching for roofers in their service area. And at an average cost per click of $35, this potential traffic has a value of $42,911 per month. Now that our prospect is aware of the number of people searching for his service on Google each month, let's find out how many of these potential clients are visiting his own website. To do that, let's click on the Your Rankings tab. As we can see, our prospect has a number of rankings in organic and in the local map pack. For example, our prospect is ranking number 1 in the map pack within the city of Denver for the search term roofers. Let's click on the Performance tab to see what our prospect's rankings mean in terms of traffic to their website. The performance sheet shows us that our prospect is getting only about 46 visits to his website from his organic rankings from a total potential of 770. That's just 6%. Our prospect is getting an additional 285 clicks from their local pack rankings. That's 60% of the total monthly potential in the local pack. This prospect isn't currently running a PPC campaign, and for that reason his paid traffic is 0. Overall, our prospect is performing at about 27%. Not bad. However, there's still a lot of room for improvement. Now that we know our prospects' rankings, let's head over to the Top Comp tab and take a look at how they stack up against their competition. As we can see, overall, when comparing our prospects' rankings to those of their competition, our prospect is ranking in the 12th position in organic and the 4th position in maps. It's good to know where our prospect stands and who they need to beat for top rankings. Now let's go ahead and click on the Factors tab. The Factors sheet breaks down for the prospect all the ranking factors needed to score top local rankings. They can be grouped into location authority factors and domain authority factors. Let's move on now to the Process sheet. The Process sheet breaks down all the monthly content that is needed to achieve location authority. The factors and process sheets are discussed in more details in a separate tutorial. We can now move on to our projections sheets. Let's click on the Proj 1 tab. The Proj 1 sheet provides a 24-month forecast of the estimated impact SEO will have on the prospect's business in terms of leads, new clients, gross revenue, net profit, and ROI. These projections show that within 6 months, the prospect is already generating sales and profits from their SEO. After 12 months, the prospect is on course to generating an additional $40,000 in gross revenue per month and a net profit of $8,300 per month. A summary table at the bottom of the projections shows that our prospect is projected to add an additional $254,000 in gross revenue and a net profit of $43,000 after just 12 months through their SEO. Let's click on the Proj 2 tab to see what PPC is projected to achieve for our prospect. As we can see, PPC looks like a great fit for our prospect and has a positive impact on profitability very early on. It assumes by default a monthly media spend of $3,000. Let's click on the Proj 3 tab to view projections that combine both SEO and PPC. As we can see, for this prospect, when SEO is combined with PPC, the prospect's path to profitability is accelerated to just 1 month. The metrics just below the projections show that by month 12, this prospect should be on pace to growing their annual revenue by $888,000 with a net profit of $157,000. This is exactly what we estimated for the prospect in our teaser earlier on in our presentation. The prospect should now have a clear understanding of how we came up with our estimates and as a result have greater confidence in our ability to achieve them. Let's take a look now at Proj 4. This sheet summarizes the projections and enables us to evaluate the impact of location authority, domain authority, quality score, and PPC budget on our projections. For example, reducing our location authority from 100% to 50%, meaning 50% adherence to an optimized location authority process, would reduce our projected revenues by nearly $100,000. On the other hand, increasing the PPC quality score from a 5 to a 7 is projected to increase revenue by about $150,000 within the same 12-month period. We can also evaluate how increasing our PPC budget impacts our gross revenue and net profits. Let's try different PPC budgets by selecting them from the PPC drop-down menu. Let's try $10,000 per month. Now let's try $20,000 per month. We can instantly see the impact on our projected revenues. Now that the prospect has seen what working with you can mean for their business, not only in terms of traffic and leads, but much more importantly in terms of revenue, profits, and ROI, it's time to point them to your payment form and close the sale. If you closed the sale, congratulations. If you haven't, worry not. Either way, we have just a few more steps before we're done. Let's head back to the top comp sheet. In the top comp sheet, there's a list of all the local competitors. Let's select and copy them. Now, let's head back to the LocalSEOValue.com website. Let's close our current report window by clicking anywhere outside the window and confirming that we want to exit. Let's click on the Competitor Keyword Ranking Report tab. Now, let's paste the list of domains we just copied into the input box. Let's select our prospect's country. In this case, we'll keep the default United States. And finally, let's go ahead and click Get Your Report. Once the report is ready, scroll down to the bottom of the page and click the Copy to Clipboard button. Let's head back to our spreadsheet and click the Data To tab. Now let's go ahead and paste our data in the top left cell labeled Paste Here. If we just closed the sale, let's head over to the Comp Keywords tab. In this sheet, we can see all the top keywords that our new client's competitors are ranking for. And these aren't just any keywords. These are the most important keywords that are driving all the traffic to our clients' most relevant competitors. And at the top of the list, we find all of their biggest money-making keywords. Of course, we'll use this information to optimize our client's campaign so that we can take over their competitors' most valuable keyword rankings. Now let's take a look at what we do if we did not close the sale. We simply import all of our prospects' top competitors into our dialer and use the information we just collected to close someone else. To do that, let's head over to the Post This sheet. Let's update the blue fields as needed. We'll enter our prospect's state, zip code, country, and their core service, which is roofing. Now, let's go ahead and copy the populated yellow highlighted fields. Next, let's click the Local SEO Value link in the instructions. Now that we're on the Local SEO Value Leads Sync page, let's go ahead and paste our data into the input box. Our leads are now syncing with our dialer so that we can start making our calls. And we can see right here on this page the status of each of the leads that's being synced so that we can tell if they are synced successfully or not. Let's switch over to our Leads 180 account, which serves as our lead management tool and dialer. We'll now click the View All Your Leads link to go to our leads list. We can now see all the leads that we just synced up from Local SEO Value. We can now click the phone icon on each of our newly synced leads to immediately call them directly from our browser. All of the valuable data we generated while presenting to a previous prospect is now available to us for this call. We even have our cold call and cold email scripts written up for us. Equipped with this information and with a dialer that's ready to connect us with all of our prospects' most relevant competitors, we are just calls away from closing our next client. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope you see the tremendous value Local SEO Value can add to your business.